The massive spaceship hung silent in the darkness of deep space. For thousands of years it had drifted, its systems dormant, its crew frozen in time. But today, something changed. A faint blue light flickered to life in the ship's control room. Slowly, more lights began to blink and shine. The ship's ancient computers whirred to life, their processors warming up after eons of disuse. In the stasis bay, frost melted off the pods holding the crew. Steam hissed as the pod doors opened one by one. Inside, men and women in old-fashioned uniforms stirred, their eyes fluttering open for the first time in millennia. Captain Zara Lynn was the first to fully wake. She stumbled out of her pod, her legs weak from disuse. Her dark hair, still damp from the stasis fluid, clung to her face. She looked around, confused and disoriented. "Status report," she croaked, her voice hoarse from lack of use. The ship's ag responded, its voice echoing through the empty halls. "Captain Lynn, the fleet has awakened as programmed. Current date is unknown. Unable to connect to Earth's network. No response from other human outposts." Zora's eyes widened. This wasn't right. They were supposed to wake up after 100 years. Not this. She made her way to the bridge, her steps becoming steadier as she moved. On the bridge, screens flickered to life. Zora gasped as she saw the star map. Nothing looked familiar. The constellations were all wrong. How long have we been asleep?" she asked, dreading the answer. "Based on stellar drift patterns, approximately 10,000 Earth years, Captain." Zora felt her knees go weak. 10,000 years. Everything they knew, everyone they loved, all gone. She steadied herself against a console, trying to process this information. Over the next few hours, more of the crew awakened. Engineers checked the ship's systems. Scientists analyzed data from long-range sensors, and Zara tried to make sense of their situation. Their fleet had been humanity's last hope. Earth had been under attack by a powerful alien force. The plan was to hide the fleet, let it sleep for a century, then return to liberate Earth. But something had gone terribly wrong. As the day wore on, more troubling news came in. The few transmissions they could intercept from alien races painted a grim picture. Humanity, it seemed, was now a footnote in galactic history, a primitive species, barely worth mentioning. Zara called a meeting of her senior staff. They gathered in the conference room, all looking as shell-shocked as she felt. "What do we know?" she asked her science officer, a lanky man named Dr. Chen. Chen cleared his throat. "It's not good, Captain. From what we can gather, Earth was indeed conquered. Humans now exist as a minor species in the galaxy. We're considered primitive. A joke, even." Murmurs of disbelief and anger rippled through the room. Zara held up a hand for silence. "And our technology?" she asked the chief engineer, a stocky woman named Rodriguez. Rodriguez shook her head. "Outdated by galactic standards, Captain. But," she paused, a glint in her eye, "it still packs a punch. Our weapons might be old, but they're powerful, and no one out there knows what we're capable of." Zara nodded, a plan forming in her mind. She stood, addressing her crew. "We may be out of our time," she said, her voice strong and clear. "We may be considered a joke by the galaxy, but we are still human. We still have our ship, our weapons, and our wits, and we have something they don't expect, the element of surprise." She looked at each of her officers in turn. "We were meant to save Earth from alien invaders. Instead, we'll save humanity from obscurity and mockery. We'll remind the galaxy why they once feared us." The crew straightened in their seats, a new fire in their eyes. They had lost everything they knew, but they had found a new purpose. "Prepare the fleet," Zara ordered. "It's time to wake the rest of our ships. Time to show this new galaxy what humans can do." As her crew hurried to their tasks, Zara turned to look out the viewport. The unfamiliar stars twinkled back at her. Somewhere out there was Earth, and the remnants of humanity. They didn't know it yet, But their long-lost protectors had finally returned. The ancient human fleet was awake, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The ancient human fleet moved silently through space, its engines barely a whisper against the vast emptiness. Captain Zara Lynn stood on the bridge of the flagship, her eyes fixed on the main view screen. The galaxy spread out before them, beautiful and alien. "Report," Zara commanded, her voice steady despite the tension in her shoulders. Lieutenant Coda, a young officer with sharp eyes, spoke up. "Captain, we've detected a small trading outpost on a nearby moon. It seems to be a neutral zone, frequented by various species." Zara nodded. "Perfect. We'll send a small team to gather information. We need to understand this new galaxy." Hours later, the scouting team returned. Their faces were grim as they reported to Zara and her senior staff. "It's worse than we thought," said Commander Trent, the team leader. "Humans are. They're practically nobodies out there. We're seen as primitive, weak, barely worth noticing." He activated a holographic display, showing images of various alien species. Tall, graceful beings with shimmering skin. Short, stocky creatures with multiple arms. And there, looking small and unremarkable, were humans. "Most advanced races treat humans like pets at best, pests at worst," Trent continued. "We're good for manual labor, maybe some entertainment. But that's it." The room fell silent as the information sank in. Zara's fists clenched at her sides. This was not the future they had fought for, not the legacy they had hoped to leave. "There's more," Trent added. "Earth is, well, it's not ours anymore. It's been divided up among several alien empires. Humans there live as second-class citizens." A wave of anger swept through the room. Officers muttered and cursed. Zara raised a hand for silence. "What about our technology?" she asked. "How do we compare?" Dr. Chen, the science officer, stepped forward. "It's a mixed bag, Captain. In some areas, we're hopelessly outdated. Their faster-than-light travel is leagues beyond ours. But in others," he paused, a glint in his eye. "In others, we might have an edge. Our weapons technology, for instance. It seems weapons development stagnated over the millennia. Our old tech might actually be more advanced." Zora absorbed this information, her mind racing. They were outgunned in many ways, but not all. They had surprise on their side, and the strength of a people with nothing left to lose. "All right," she said, her voice cutting through the tense atmosphere. "Here's what we're going to do. We'll split our efforts. Half of us will focus on upgrading our ships with whatever new tech we can safely adapt. The other half will start planning our strategy." She turned to her communications officer. "I want you to start broadcasting. Nothing overt, nothing that gives away our position. But let's remind the galaxy that humans exist. Let's make them curious." The officer nodded, a smile spreading across his face. "I have some ideas, Captain. We'll have them talking about humans in no time." Over the next few weeks, the fleet worked tirelessly. Engineers retrofitted the ships with salvaged alien tech. Tacticians pored over star charts, planning their moves. And across the galaxy, strange messages began to appear. Alien communication channels crackled with odd transmissions. Old human music played on forgotten frequencies. Mysterious stories of human bravery and cunning circulated in seedy spaceports and glittering alien capitals alike. Slowly, the galaxy's attention turned towards the long-ignored human race. Who were these creatures? Where had these stories come from? Some dismissed it as a curiosity, a brief fad. Others began to worry. On the bridge of her ship, Zara watched the reports flood in. The galaxy was talking about humans again. It wasn't much, but it was a start. "Captain," Coda called out, "we're picking up a distress signal. It's from a human ship." Zara's head snapped up. This was it. Their first real contact with their own people in 10,000 years. Their first chance to make a difference. "Set a course," she ordered, her voice firm. "It's time to remind our people who they are. It's time to show this galaxy what humans can do. As the fleet jumped to light speed, Zora allowed herself a small smile. The ancient human fleet was about to make its first mark on this transformed galaxy, and nothing would ever be the same again. The ancient human fleet dropped out of light speed near a small rocky planet. Captain Zora Lin's eyes were fixed on the main view screen, where a battered human cargo ship limped through space. Three sleek, predatory-looking alien vessels surrounded it. "Status report," Zora commanded, her voice tense. Lieutenant Koda's fingers flew over his console. "The human ship is badly damaged, Captain. Life support is failing. The alien ships appear to be pirates. They're well armed, but nothing we can't handle." Zora nodded, her mind racing. This was their chance to make a statement, to show the galaxy that humans were not to be trifled with. But they had to be smart about it. "Open a channel to the pirate ships," she ordered. The alien captain that appeared on screen was a sight to behold. Tall, with mottled green skin and 4 arms, he sneered at Zora. "Who dares interrupt our hunt?" he growled. Zora stood tall, her voice steady. "This is Captain Zora Lin of the human fleet. You are attacking one of our ships. Withdraw now or face the consequences." The alien captain laughed, a harsh, grating sound. "Humans, with a fleet, you must be joking. Run along, little primates, before we decide to add you to our haul." The transmission cut off. Zora's eyes narrowed. They've made their choice. Tactical, target their weapon systems. Let's show them what these little primates can do. What followed was a battle that would be talked about in seedy space sports for years to come. The ancient human ships moved with a grace that belied their age, their outdated weapons blazing with unexpected power. The pirate ships, caught off guard by the humans' capabilities, scrambled to respond. But they were too slow, too overconfident. Within minutes, 2 of the 3 ships were drifting, their weapons disabled and their engines sputtering. The alien captain's face appeared on screen again, this time with fear in his eyes. What are you?" he stammered. Zora allowed herself a small, dangerous smile. "We are humanity, and we're back." With a final precision strike, the last pirate ship was disabled. Zora turned to her crew. "Prepare boarding parties. I want those ships stripped of anything useful, and get medical teams to the human vessel immediately." Hours later, Zora stood in the cargo bay, watching as the rescued humans were brought aboard. They looked thin, scared, their clothes ragged. A far cry from the proud species she remembered. An older man approached her, his eyes wide with awe. You saved us. But how? Where did you come from?" Zora looked at him, seeing the weight of years of oppression in his eyes. "We're from Earth's past," she said simply, "and we're here to secure humanity's future." The news of the battle spread quickly. At first, it was dismissed as a rumor, a fanciful tale spun by drunken spacers. But as more reports came in, as the pirate ships limped into ports with tales of the terrifying human fleet, the galaxy began to take notice. In the halls of power on 100 worlds, leaders began to whisper, who were these humans? Where had they gotten such powerful ships? And what did their return mean for the balance of power in the galaxy? Back on the fleet's flagship, Zora stood in the conference room with her senior staff. The mood was jubilant, but Zora knew they couldn't afford to become overconfident. "This was a good first step," she said, "but it's just the beginning. We've announced our presence. Now we need to make it count." Commander Trent nodded. "We've analyzed the tech from the pirate ships, Captain. There's a lot we can use to upgrade our systems." "Good," Zora replied. "Get our engineers on it immediately. We need every advantage we can get." As her staff filed out, Zora turned to look at the star map. Somewhere out there was Earth, and billions of humans living under alien rule. They didn't know it yet, but everything was about to change. The ancient human fleet had drawn first blood. The galaxy had mocked humanity for too long. Now they would learn to fear them. And this was only the beginning. The news of the human fleet's victory spread like wildfire across the galaxy. In the weeks that followed, Captain Zara Lynn found herself navigating a complex web of galactic politics she never could have imagined. On the bridge of her flagship, Zara stood before a holographic display of incoming transmissions. The sheer number of them was overwhelming. Another message from the Zaraxian Empire, Captain, Lieutenant Coda reported. They're offering an alliance, military support, technology exchange, the works. Zora frowned. The Zaraxians were known for their powerful warships, but also for their ruthlessness. And the catch. They want us to help them conquer 3 neighboring systems, Coda replied grimly. Zara shook her head. Decline. We're not here to help bullies become bigger bullies. As she spoke, another message flashed on the screen. This one made Zora pause. The Aetherian Collective. Aren't they the ones who've been protecting some human colonies? Commander Trent nodded. Yes, Captain. Small protection, but better than most. They're requesting a meeting. Zora considered this. The Aetherians were known for their advanced technology and generally peaceful nature. But we'll meet on neutral ground. Days later, Zara found herself on a space station at the edge of Aetherian space. The Aetherian ambassador, a tall, willowy being with iridescent skin, bowed deeply. Captain Lynn, the ambassador said, her voice melodious. We are honored. Your return has upset the balance of power in our galaxy. Many fear you, but we see an opportunity. Zara listened carefully as the ambassador outlined a proposal. The Aetherians offered technological upgrades, star charts, and most importantly, information about the current state of humanity across the galaxy. In return, the ambassador concluded, we ask for your help in maintaining peace in this sector. Your fleet's reputation alone could deter many conflicts. Zora considered the offer. It wasn't perfect, but it was a start. We accept, she said finally. But understand this. Our primary goal is the freedom and safety of humanity. We won't compromise on that. The ambassador nodded, a smile playing on her ethereal features. We would expect nothing less. As Zara and her team prepared to leave the station, alarms suddenly blared. A massive ship had just dropped out of lightspeed nearby. Krenak warship. Coda shouted, his face pale. They're charging weapons. The Krenak were a warrior race, feared across the galaxy for their brutality, and they had humanity in their sights. All hands, battle stations. Zara commanded, her mind racing. Their ship was good, but they were outnumbered and in unfamiliar territory. Just as the Krenak ship opened fire, a shimmering energy field sprang up around Zora's ship and the space station. The Aetherian ambassador stepped forward, her eyes glowing with power. You are under our protection, she said simply. The Krenak ship fired again and again, but the shield held. Finally, they retreated, but not before sending a message. This isn't over, humans. Your days are numbered. In the aftermath, Zara turned to the Aetherian ambassador. Thank you, she said sincerely, but I'm afraid we just made your lives more complicated. The ambassador smiled. Perhaps, but we've also gained a powerful ally. The galaxy is changing, Captain Lynn. We believe it's changing for the better. As Zora prepared to return to her fleet, she knew that this was just the beginning. They had made their first alliance, but also their first powerful enemy. The path ahead would be dangerous, but for the first time in millennia, humanity had hope. Back on her ship, Zara addressed her crew. We've taken our first steps into a larger galaxy, she said, her voice carrying across the ship's intercom. It won't be easy. We'll face enemies we can't imagine, but we'll also find friends in unexpected places. She paused, looking at the faces of her crew, determined, scared, hopeful. We are humanity's last, best hope, she continued, and we will not fail. Today, we've shown the galaxy that we're a force to be reckoned with. Tomorrow, we'll show them what humanity truly stands for. As her words echoed through the ship, Zara felt a mix of determination and apprehension. The real battle was just beginning. But humanity was ready. Captain Zara Lynn stood before a holographic map of the galaxy, her brow furrowed in concentration. Around her, the bridge buzzed with activity as her crew worked tirelessly. The ancient human fleet had been making waves across the stars, but Zara knew they needed something more. "We're still outnumbered and outgunned," she mused aloud. "We need to level the playing field." Commander Trent, her tactical officer, stepped forward. "Captain, I might have an idea. It's risky, but it could change everything." Zara raised an eyebrow. "I'm listening." Trent's plan was audacious. They would use the galaxy's fear and curiosity about the human fleet to their advantage. They would spread rumors, exaggerate their capabilities, and create an illusion of a massive, unstoppable human armada. "It's not just about firepower," Trent explained. "It's about perception. If they believe we're more powerful than we are, they'll think twice before attacking us." Zara nodded slowly, a smile spreading across her face. "Psychological warfare. I like it. Let's get to work." Over the next few weeks, the human fleet put their plan into action. They began by staging a series of hit-and-run attacks on key targets across the galaxy. Each attack was precise, leaving minimal damage but maximum impact. Lieutenant Coda, their communications expert, worked overtime to spread the word. He sent encrypted messages to sympathetic aliens, leaked classified information about the fleet's size and capabilities, and even created holographic projections of non-existent ships during battles. The results were beyond their wildest dreams. Across the galaxy, rumors spread like wildfire. Some said the human fleet numbered in the thousands. Others claimed their weapons could destroy entire star systems. Still others whispered that the humans had unlocked the secrets of time itself. In a seedy bar on a distant space station, an alien informant leaned close to his contact. "I heard they have a weapon that can turn a sun nova," he whispered, his multiple eyes darting nervously. "They call it the Star Killer." The contact's tentacles quivered with excitement. This was exactly the kind of information his employers were looking for. Meanwhile, in the grand halls of the Galactic Council, representatives from various species argued heatedly. "We must strike now, before the human fleet grows too powerful," shouted a Krenak warrior, pounding his fist on the table. An Aetherian counselor raised her hand for calm. "But what if the rumors are true? We could be leading our forces into a massacre." As the council descended into chaos, Zara and her team watched the broadcasts with satisfaction. Their plan was working perfectly, but not everyone was fooled. In a hidden base on the outer rim, a group of alien scientists pored over data from recent human encounters. "The numbers don't add up," one of them muttered. "Their fleet can't possibly be as large as the rumors suggest." His colleague nodded grimly. "We need to warn the others. This human resurgence might be smoke and mirrors." Back on the flagship, Zara faced a new challenge. A small human colony had sent out a distress call, begging for help against an alien invasion. It was the perfect opportunity to reinforce their reputation, but it was also incredibly risky. "If we go in guns blazing, we might expose our true numbers," Trent warned. Zara nodded, her mind racing. "Then we don't go in guns blazing. We go in smart." The plan they devised was daring. Using holographic technology borrowed from their Aetherian allies, they created the illusion of a massive fleet descending on the colony. In reality, only 3 ships entered the fray, using hit-and-run tactics to confuse and terrify the invaders. The alien fleet, believing they were hopelessly outnumbered, retreated in panic. The human colonists cheered as their saviors seemingly vanished into thin air, adding to the mystery and legend of the fleet. As they left the system, Zora allowed herself a moment of pride. Their great deception was working. The galaxy trembled at the mere mention of the human fleet. But she knew they were walking a dangerous line. How long could they keep up the charade? And what would happen when the truth finally came to light? For now, though, Humanity had hope. And sometimes, Zara thought, hope was the most powerful weapon of all. The day Captain Zara Lynn had been waiting for finally arrived. Earth, humanity's ancient home, loomed large on the view screen of her flagship. But it wasn't the blue-green jewel of her memories. It was a planet scarred by alien occupation, its once clear skies now clouded with the smog of alien industry. "Status report," Zora commanded, her voice tight with emotion. Lieutenant Koda's fingers danced across his console. "Multiple alien fleets in orbit, Captain. Krenak, Xeraxian, even some Etherian ships. They're scrambling to battle positions." Zara nodded grimly. Their arrival hadn't gone unnoticed. The element of surprise was gone, but they still had a few tricks up their sleeves. "All ships, battle formation Delta," she ordered, "and launch Operation Phantom." Across the human fleet, holographic projectors sprang to life. Where once there were dozens of ships, now there appeared to be hundreds. The illusion was perfect, a vast armada seemingly appearing out of nowhere. On the alien ships, panic spread quickly. Where did they all come from? A Krenak captain bellowed. Our intel said their fleet was much smaller. An Aetherian commander tried to calm her crew. "Stay focused. Something doesn't add up here." But it was too late. The shock of the human fleet's apparent size had thrown the alien forces into disarray. It was exactly what Zara had been counting on. "All ships, engage," Zara commanded. The space around Earth erupted into chaos. Laser fire crisscrossed the void, missiles streaked between ships, and fighters darted through the melee like angry insects. Despite being outnumbered, the human ships fought with a ferocity that shocked their opponents. Centuries of pent-up anger at their species' subjugation fueled their every move. Commander Trent's voice crackled over the comm. "Captain, the Krenak flagship is breaking formation. They're making a run for it." Zora allowed herself a small smile. "Let them go. They'll spread the word of our overwhelming force." But the battle was far from over. As the fight raged on, the aliens began to realize that the human fleet wasn't as large as it appeared. The holograms, while convincing at a distance, couldn't hold up under close scrutiny. "It's a trick," the Xeraxian admiral roared. "Push through their lines. They can't stop us all." Zara gritted her teeth as enemy ships began to break through their formation. "All ships, fall back to Earth's atmosphere. Prepare for stratospheric combat." It was a risky move. Fighting in atmosphere limited their maneuverability, but it also negated some of the aliens' technological advantages. More importantly, it brought the battle within view of the humans on the surface. As the ships descended, breaking through the cloud cover, millions of eyes turned skyward. For the first time in generations, humans saw their own kind fighting for them, defying the alien overlords who had kept them downtrodden for so long. In cities across the globe, humans began to rise up. Armed with whatever weapons they could find, they stormed alien outposts and command centers. The occupiers, caught between the space battle above and the insurrection below, began to falter. Back in orbit, Zara's flagship rocked with the impact of enemy fire. "Shields at 30%, Captain," an officer called out. "We can't take much more of this." Zara's mind raced. They were so close, but victory was slipping away. Then an idea struck her. "All ships, initiate Protocol Omega," she commanded. Across the human fleet, ships began to power down all non-essential systems. To the alien sensors, it looked as if the human ships were falling, disabled, or destroyed. The alien fleets, believing victory was at hand, surged forward, right into the human fleet's trap. "Now," Zora shouted. In an instant, the human ships roared back to life, their weapons at full power. Caught completely off guard, the alien ships were torn apart by the sudden onslaught. Within hours, it was over. The alien fleets were in full retreat, leaving Earth's orbit for the first time in millennia. As Zara looked down at the planet below, she saw fires burning in many cities, but they weren't fires of destruction. They were beacons of hope, of celebration. Earth was free. Humanity had reclaimed its home, and the galaxy would never be the same again. The sun rose over a free Earth for the first time in thousands of years. Captain Zara Lynn stood on a balcony in the newly reclaimed human capital, her eyes scanning the horizon. The city below was a mix of ancient human architecture and alien structures, a visual reminder of humanity's long struggle. "Captain," Commander Trent said, approaching her, "the Galactic Council has arrived. They're ready to meet with us." Zara nodded, taking the deep breath. This meeting would shape the future of humanity in the galaxy. She straightened her uniform and made her way to the Grand Hall. Inside, representatives from various alien races sat around a massive table. Some looked nervous, others angry, and a few seemed curious. Zara took her place at the head of the table, flanked by her senior officers. "Welcome to Earth," she began, her voice strong and clear. "For too long, humanity has been treated as a footnote in galactic history. Today, that changes." A Krennic representative slammed his fist on the table. "You deceived us. Your fleet, your power, it was all a lie." Zara smiled coolly. "Was it? We achieved what you thought impossible. We liberated our homeworld and defeated your combined fleets. I'd say that's real power." The Aetherian ambassador spoke up, her voice calm. "What are your intentions now, Captain Lynn? Revenge against those who oppressed humanity?" Zara shook her head. "No, revenge is a path to more conflict. We seek equality, respect, and a place among the stars. But make no mistake, we will defend ourselves if threatened." Discussions raged for hours. Some races, impressed by humanity's cunning and determination, offered alliances. Others, fearing human retaliation, proposed trade deals and technology exchanges. A few hardliners called for immediate action against Earth, but they were quickly silenced by the majority. As the meeting concluded, a new galactic order began to take shape. Humanity would have a seat on the Galactic Council. Earth's sovereignty would be recognized, and human colonies across the galaxy would be granted independence. In return, humanity agreed to share some of their unique technologies, including their holographic deception systems, which had impressed even their enemies. As the alien representatives filed out, the Aetherian ambassador lingered. "You've changed the course of galactic history, Captain Lynn," she said softly. "I hope it's for the better." Zara nodded solemnly. "So do I." In the weeks that followed, Earth underwent a rapid transformation. Alien occupation forces withdrew, replaced by human governance. The ancient human fleet, no longer needed for war, turned its efforts to exploration and peacekeeping. Zara found herself becoming a symbol of human resilience and ingenuity. Stories of her tactics spread across the galaxy, taught in military academies on 100 worlds. Some called her a hero, others a trickster, but all agreed she had earned her place in history. One evening, as she walked through a rebuilt section of the capital, Zara was approached by a young human girl. "Are you really Captain Lynn?" the girl asked, eyes wide with wonder. Zara knelt down to the child's level. "I am. What's your name?" "Maya," the girl replied. "I want to be like you when I grow up. I want to explore the stars." Zara smiled, feeling a warmth in her chest. This was what they had fought for, a future where human children could dream of the stars again. "The galaxy is waiting for you, Maya," she said. "And now, nothing can hold humanity back." As she stood, Zara looked up at the night sky. The stars seemed brighter somehow, full of promise and possibility. Humanity had reclaimed its place in the cosmos, not through brute force, but through courage, cunning, and an indomitable spirit. The ancient human fleet, once forgotten and mocked, had become legend. And though challenges still lay ahead, Zara knew that humanity was ready to face them. A new era had dawned for Earth and its people. No longer would they be mocked by the galaxy. Instead, they would be respected, feared when necessary, but most importantly, recognized as equals among the stars. As Zara walked back to her ship, she felt a sense of completion. Their long journey through time and space had ended, but humanity's true journey was just beginning, and she couldn't wait to see where it would lead.